Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Bird News. I hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day. We actually managed to hire babysitters and go out for a nice quiet meal. It was a very cold day, minus 25 Celsius. There were lots of birds, so my bird feeders were really busy. Well, I hope you got my email on Friday inviting you to participate in the Great Backyard Bird Count. Last weekend was also my count days for Project Feeder Watch, so I'm quite busy counting birds. And I hope you participated as well. And another thing I want to encourage you to do is actually to count birds on a regular basis with Ebird. This is an app that's available on your mobile devices, on your desktop, and this is something that scientists use to track what's happening to birds. Remember, counting birds is one of those 7 steps to bring birds back. Well, here's a question I never thought about, but it's quite interesting. So Howard wants to know if blue herons and swans are aggressive towards each other and whether a heron will come to a pond if swans were there first.
Hi, Howard. You asked me if swans and great blue herons are aggressive to one another and whether a heron would come to a pond if the swans are already present. You know, it's funny that you should mention these two particular species, despite the fact that they usually forage in different parts of any body of water and in very different ways, mainly because they are both aggressive in their own way. Great blue herons up in Canada are facing new competition from great egrets, a similar looking bird but different colored, white, expanding its range northward likely due to climate change. If a great egret shows up too close to a feeding great blue heron, the latter will chase the former away, threatening it with its long pointed bill. They simply don't want the competition from the egrets for feeding and nesting areas. In similar fashion, mute swans, introduced to North America in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and now widely regarded as an invasive species, have an even more serious reputation for being aggressive to other wetland-dependent birds, like herons. They commonly force the latter birds to feed and nest in less preferred areas. This behavior has become so worrisome that governments have actually initiated culling programs for the swans. On the other hand, great blue herons do eat ducklings, goslings, and even small cygnets, baby swans, so swans have good reason not to want these large herons anywhere near their young. My guess is that a territorial pair of swans will aggressively chase off a heron landing anywhere near them, and that a heron would actively avoid landing near the swans unless it had an interest in eating any of these small swan young approaching close enough to grab. Recently I watched an amazing YouTube video of an African grey parrot observing a human place a food item in a box with a whole series of locking devices including threaded wheels, latches and the like. Immediately thereafter, the parrot reversed all of the steps with ease and retrieved the food. But I couldn't help thinking that the bird was only using its incredible memory to mimic the human. I don't think an African grey parrot, which most parrot lovers claim to be the smartest bird in the world, could do what crows, especially New Caledonia crows, can do. These clever birds, whether in the wild or in a laboratory setting, can actually fashion tools, like a hook stick, without even seeing how it's done, and use them to scoop insects out of holes in tree trunks. And they don't do it with just any old stick. They actually seek out a particular type of plant stem with which to make their tools, and they can find them even if humans disguise them by artificially attaching leaves from another plant to them. A more recent experiment further demonstrating their smarts involved a New Caledonia crow named 007, which solved an artificial puzzle composed of 8 different steps without even watching a human do it first. Crows and ravens and their related kin species certainly get my vote over the parrots as the most intelligent birds on the planet.
It's always fascinating to learn how smart birds are and how much they can remember. And normally it's the corvids that are the smartest ones, but today I present you New Zealand Robbins or Tutawai. Cute, aren't they? Apparently, they love humans and come to check them out on a regular basis. Anyway, 2 years ago, Dr. Rachel Shaw from Victoria University of Wellington taught 64 Tutawais how to open cans to get to worms. Recently, she retested half of those birds and she was surprised that all but 2 remembered how to open those cans. The birds that have never been taught this trick couldn't figure it out. The Tutawai are very curious and super friendly, so they are often targets for cats. So Dr. Shaw is hoping to find ways to teach these birds some tricks to avoid predation in the future. Sadly, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act is under attack again. The White House has just released a new draft of the treaty. As you can probably remember, this treaty was originally introduced in 1918 to protect migratory birds from being hunted and poached for their feathers, which were a desirable fashion accessory at the time. I'm so happy we're done with that. Since then, the treaty was amended and a new clause was added, holding companies responsible for killing birds in their day-to-day operations. This meant that energy and mining companies had to find ways to operate without harming birds, or they had to pay hefty fines for killing birds, even if that was by accident. Well, guess what? The new redraft has removed that clause completely, which means companies now can operate with fewer repercussions. Ooh la la, what a contest we've just had. We've had 125 photo entries. I think that's the most we've had in 4 years. But then, who doesn't love a northern cardinal? So, let's check out the top 5. And here's the 3rd place, the 2nd place, and the grand prize winner. Congratulations, everybody. Next month is Birds with Seeds. Well, it's time to say goodbye. Again, if you want to be one of the judges in our photo contest, just send me an email and let me know. Take care, everyone. I'll see you in 2 weeks.